I still remember the first time I set foot on this land. It wasn't lush back then. It wasn't green or welcoming. It was dry, cracked, stubborn, like it had given up on hope. But my husband, Ahmed, he saw something else. He saw life. He saw a future. "Trust me," he said, kneeling down and running his fingers through the dusty soil. "This land will give us everything we need. We just have to love it first." And we did. We poured everything into it. Our savings. Our sweat. Our prayers. There were mornings when the sun rose so hot, I thought the earth itself would catch fire. And there were nights so cold, I wrapped myself in a shawl and sat beside Ahmed as he planned the next day's work under the stars. But we never complained. Because this wasn't just land. It was ours. It was our dreams taking root. I remember the day we planted our first mango tree. Adil was barely 5 years old. He stood beside his father, holding a tiny sapling in his small hands, his eyes wide with wonder. "Ami, will it really grow?" he asked me. I smiled and knelt beside him. "Only if you promise to take care of it." He nodded so seriously, like it was the most important promise he'd ever made. And that tree? It grew tall. Strong. Every summer, it gave us the sweetest mangoes. Adil would climb it, laughing, calling out to me from the top branches. "Ami, look. I'm the king of the farm." I would stand below, my heart full, watching my son bloom just like the land around him. Ahmed used to say, "This farm is not just soil and seed. It's our legacy. One day, Adil will stand here and remember us. He'll know what it means to build something with your own hands." I believed him. I believed every word. But then, Ahmed left us. It wasn't sudden. He had been sick for months. The doctors said his heart was weak. But I knew better. His heart wasn't weak. It was too full. Full of love for us. Full of dreams for this land. The night he passed, I sat beside his bed, holding his hand. He looked at me with tired eyes and whispered, "Don't let go of the farm. It's all we have. It's all Adil will have." I promised him. I swore on everything I held sacred. I won't let go. I'll protect it. For you. For Adil. And I did. Even after Ahmed was gone, I woke up every morning before sunrise. I walked the fields. I checked the crops. I spoke to the workers. I made decisions. I carried the weight of everything, alone. People in the village whispered, "A woman running a farm? She won't last." But I did. Because this wasn't just about survival. It was about honoring my husband's memory. It was about keeping my promise. Adil saw it all. He grew up watching me. And I truly thought he understood. He used to help me. He would walk beside me through the fields, asking questions, listening, learning. He loved the land. I saw it in his eyes. "Ami, when I grow up, I'll take care of everything. You won't have to worry anymore." I held his face in my hands. "You already make me proud, Beta." But somewhere along the way, things changed. Adil grew older. He went to the city for college. He came back different. Not bad, just distant. Like a part of him had stayed behind in those city streets. He started talking about modern farming, about selling portions of the land to invest in business. I listened. I tried to understand. But deep down, I felt a tremor of fear. "Beta, this land is not just an asset. It's your father's soul. It's our history." He would nod. But I could see it. He didn't feel it the way I did anymore. Still, I told myself it was just a phase. He would come back to his roots. He would remember. And then, he got married. I was happy. Of course I was. What mother wouldn't be? Adil brought home a beautiful bride. Maywish. She smiled sweetly. She touched my feet with respect. She called me Ami Jan in the softest voice. Everyone said, What a perfect daughter-in-law. And I wanted to believe it. I tried so hard to believe it. But there was something I couldn't name. A flicker in her eyes. A sharpness beneath the sweetness. The first few weeks, she was quiet. She observed. She smiled. She agreed with everything. But slowly, I began to notice. She never touched the soil. Never asked about the crops. Never walked the fields with us. One evening, I asked her gently, "Maywish, would you like to come with me tomorrow morning? I'll show you the orchards. They're beautiful this time of year." She laughed softly. "Ammi-Jan, I'm not really an outdoor person. I hope you understand." I nodded. I told myself it was fine. Not everyone loves farming. But then the complaints started. "Ammi-Jan, the house is so far from the city. It's so isolated here. Ammi-Jan, don't you think we should renovate? Make it more modern? Ammi-Jan, why do you wake up so early? You should rest more. You're not young anymore." Each word was soft, polite. But beneath it, I felt something else. Like she was slowly chipping away at everything I had built. Adil started changing too. He stopped coming with me to the fields. He spent more time on his phone. More time talking to Maywish behind closed doors. And when I tried to talk to him, he would say, "Ammi, you worry too much. Everything's fine." But everything wasn't fine. I could feel it. The land felt it too. There's a strange thing about the earth. It listens. It remembers. And it warns you. I would stand at the edge of the farm, looking out at the endless green, and I would whisper, "Ahmed, I'm trying. I'm holding on. But I'm scared." The wind would blow softly through the trees, and for a moment, I would feel him. Like he was standing beside me. "Don't let go," his voice would echo in my heart. And I wouldn't. But I didn't know then that the real battle was only just beginning. In the beginning, I told myself I was imagining things. Maywish was new to the family. Of course she needed time to adjust. Of course she would feel out of place in a house that smelled of earth and old wood instead of marble and perfume. I gave her space. I gave her patience. I gave her love. But love, I was learning, doesn't always come back the way you give it. It started with small things. She stopped eating meals with me. She would take her plate to her room, saying she preferred to eat while watching something on her phone. "Ammi-Jan, you don't mind, do you? I just like my own space." I didn't mind. Or at least, I told myself I didn't. But I missed the sound of conversation at the dinner table. I missed the laughter. The warmth. Adil noticed, but he said nothing. He would glance at me, then at her closed door, and then he would eat in silence. I wanted to ask him, "Beta, are you happy?" But I was afraid of the answer. Then she started redecorating. One morning, I woke up to find the old curtains, the ones Ahmed and I had chosen together, thrown into a pile in the corner. Maywish stood in the living room, measuring the windows with a bright smile. "Ammi-Jan, I'm updating the house. Don't you think it's time for a change?" I stared at the curtains. Faded, yes. Old, yes. But they were mine. They were ours. Maywish, Beta. I liked those curtains. She laughed lightly. "Oh, Ammi-Jan, you're too sentimental. These are so much better. Trust me." And just like that, my voice didn't matter. I watched as she slowly erased pieces of my home. The old photo frames. The wooden furniture Ahmed had built with his own hands. The clay pots I used to grow herbs. "Too old-fashioned," she would say. "We need to modernize." Modernize. That word became her weapon. But it wasn't just the house she wanted to change. It was everything. One evening, I overheard her talking to Adil in their room. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. I was just passing by. But her voice was loud enough to hear. "Adil, seriously, how long are we going to stay here? I'm suffocating. There's nothing to do. No social life. No opportunities. Maywish, this is my home. My mother's here. The farm. The farm, she interrupted, her voice sharp. Adil, wake up. The farm is holding you back. You could be doing so much more with your life. Silence. I stood frozen outside the door, my heart pounding. I'm not saying abandon your mother, Maywish continued, her tone softening, sweetening. I'm just saying, think about our future. Think about us. Don't you want more than this? I didn't wait to hear his answer. I walked away, my chest tight. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the veranda, staring out at the fields under the moonlight. The crops swayed gently in the breeze, whispering secrets only the earth could understand. Ahmed, I thought, what do I do? I wanted to fight. But how do you fight someone who smiles at you every morning? Who calls you Ami Jan with such sweetness? How do you fight someone your son loves? The distance between Adil and me grew wider. He stopped asking me about the farm. He stopped sitting with me in the evenings. He stopped looking me in the eye. And Maywish? She grew bolder. She started inviting her friends over. City girls with loud laughter and expensive clothes. They would sit in my living room, sipping tea, talking about malls and parties and places I had never been. I felt like a stranger in my own home. One afternoon, I walked into the kitchen to find Maywish on the phone. No, seriously, it's like living in a museum, she said, laughing. I keep telling Adil we need to move. But you know how it is. Family obligations. She didn't see me. Or maybe she did, and she didn't care. I turned and walked away quietly, my hands trembling. That night, I tried to talk to Adil. Beta, can we talk? He looked up from his phone, distracted. Yeah, Ami, what is it? I sat down across from him, searching for the right words. Are you happy? He frowned. What do you mean? Here. With me. With the farm. Are you happy? He hesitated. Just for a second. But I saw it. Of course, Ami. Why would you ask that? Because you've changed, Adil. You don't talk to me anymore. You don't. You don't feel like my son anymore. He looked away. Ami, I'm just busy. That's all. Busy with what? With life. With my wife. With thinking about the future. And I'm not part of that future? He sighed, rubbing his face. You're twisting my words. Then tell me the truth. What's going on? He stood up. Nothing, Ami. Everything's fine. You're overthinking. And just like that, the conversation was over. I sat there alone, feeling the weight of everything pressing down on me. Maywish was winning. And I didn't even know how to fight back. Because she wasn't loud. She wasn't cruel. She was subtle. Like poison in honey. And Adil? My beloved son? He was slipping away from me, one day at a time. There's a moment in every betrayal where you feel it coming. It's not loud. It's not obvious. It's a whisper in the wind. A shadow in the corner of your eye. A coldness that seeps into your bones even on the warmest day. I felt it. But I didn't want to believe it. It started with phone calls. Maywish was always on her phone, but now it was different. She would step outside to talk. Lower her voice. Glance over her shoulder. One morning, I was in the garden when I heard her. She was standing near the gate, her back to me, speaking in a hushed but urgent tone. Yes, I told you, it's a large property. Prime location. Agricultural land, but it can easily be converted. Just come and see it first. My heart stopped. I moved closer, hidden behind the jasmine bushes. No, he doesn't know yet. I'm working on it. Just give me a little more time. I'll convince him. I felt the ground shift beneath me. She was talking about the farm. My farm. Ahmed's farm. Our legacy. I wanted to confront her right then and there. But I didn't. I couldn't. Because if I was wrong, if I misunderstood, but I knew. Deep down, I knew. I started paying closer attention. I noticed how she would take Adil aside after every meal, whispering things I couldn't hear. How his face would grow serious, conflicted. I noticed the way she talked about money. Adil, we need to think practically. Holding onto land is old-fashioned. Smart people invest in real estate, in businesses. Why are we sitting on all this when we could be living better? Maywish, it's not that simple. This land is just land, Adil. It's not your father. It's not your mother. It's dirt. And dirt can be sold. I heard that conversation through the thin walls of the house. Dirt. She called it dirt. That night, I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I sat in Ahmed's room, the one I had kept exactly as he left it, and I cried. Ahmed, she wants to take it. She wants to take everything. I pressed my face into his old shawl, still faintly smelling of him, and I wept like a child. But tears wouldn't save me. I had to act. The next morning, I went to Adil. Beta, I need to talk to you. It's important. He looked tired. Distant. Ami, can it wait? I have some work to finish. No. It can't wait. He sighed and sat down. What is it? I took a breath. Are you planning to sell the farm? His face changed. Just for a second. A flicker of guilt. Ami, who told you that? Nobody had to tell me, Adil. I can feel it. I can see it. He rubbed his temples. Ami, it's not what you think. Then what is it? He hesitated. We've just been discussing options. That's all. Options. My voice rose. This land is not an option, Adil. It's your father's life. It's my life. It's your life. Ami, please don't be dramatic. Dramatic. I stood up, my hands shaking. Your wife is making phone calls to buyers behind my back, and you're telling me not to be dramatic? His eyes widened. You were listening to her calls? I didn't have to listen. She's not even hiding it anymore. He stood up too, frustrated. Ami, you don't understand. The farm is a lot of responsibility. Maybe it's time to think about. About what? Selling your father's soul? Selling my life's work? About being practical. The word hit me like a slap. Practical. Your father built this with his bare hands, Adil. He died protecting it. And now you want to sell it because your wife finds it inconvenient. Don't bring Maywish into this. She's already in it. She's been in it since the day she arrived. Adil's face hardened. You've never liked her. That's not true. Yes, it is. You've been cold to her from the start. I stared at him, my son, and I barely recognized him. I loved her because you loved her, I said quietly. But I will not stand by and watch her destroy everything your father and I built. He looked away. This conversation is over. Adil. I said it's over, Ami. He walked out. And I stood there, alone, feeling the walls of my own home close in on me. Days passed. The tension was unbearable. Maywish avoided me entirely. Adil barely spoke to me. I spent my time in the fields, trying to find peace in the only place that still felt like mine. But even the land felt different now. Like it was holding its breath. Waiting. One evening, I saw a car pull up to the gate. Two men stepped out, dressed in formal clothes, carrying folders. I walked toward them. Can I help you? They smiled. We're here to see the property. Mr. Adil called us. My blood ran cold. I'm sorry, there must be a mistake. No mistake, ma'am. We're here to assess the land for potential sale. I felt the earth tilt. Before I could respond, Adil appeared, walking toward them with Maywish by his side. "Amy," he said quietly, not meeting my eyes. "I need to do this." I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. The men walked past me, onto my land, my Ahmed's land, like it was already theirs. And Adil, my son, he let them. There are moments in life when time stops. Not in a beautiful way. Not in a way that makes you want to hold onto the memory. But in a way that breaks you. That moment, watching strangers walk across my land, measuring, pointing, discussing, was one of them. I stood frozen, my heart hammering in my chest. Maywish stood beside Adil, her hand on his arm, her face calm. Victorious. Adil wouldn't look at me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to fall to my knees and beg him to stop. But I didn't. Because I realized something in that moment. If I screamed, if I begged, it would change nothing. He had already made his choice. And screaming would only make me look weak. So I turned. And I walked back to the house. My legs felt like stone. My chest felt like it was caving in. I went to Ahmed's room. I closed the door. And I sat on the floor, pressing my hands to my mouth to keep the sobs from escaping. "Ahmed," I whispered. I couldn't stop him. I tried. I tried so hard. But I lost. I don't know how long I sat there. Eventually, I heard the car leave. I heard voices. Footsteps. I didn't move. Later that night, there was a soft knock on the door. "Amy." It was Adil. I didn't answer. "Amy, please. Let me explain." I stayed silent. He sighed. "I know you're angry. But this is the right decision. The farm is too much for you to handle alone. And we need the money. For our future. Our future. Not my future. Not his father's legacy. Their future. Amy, please say something." I stood up slowly. I opened the door. Adil looked at me, his face guilty, conflicted. I looked at him for a long moment. "You already signed the papers, didn't you?" He looked down. "Not yet. But when?" "Tomorrow." I nodded slowly. "Then there's nothing to talk about." "Amy, you've made your choice, Adil. Now live with it." I closed the door. And that was the last time we spoke before he betrayed me completely. The next morning, I woke up early as always. I walked the fields, touching the trees, the soil, the crops. I whispered to them, "I'm sorry. I tried to protect you. But I failed." The wind was still. The sky was gray. Even the earth seemed to be mourning. When I returned to the house, Adil was gone. Maywish was in the kitchen, humming softly, making tea. She looked up when I entered. "Good morning, Ami Jan," she said sweetly. I didn't respond. She smiled. "Adil went to finalize some paperwork. He'll be back soon." I stared at her. She met my gaze without flinching. And in that moment, I saw it clearly. She wasn't pretending anymore. She had won. "You planned this from the beginning, didn't you?" I said quietly. Her smile didn't falter. "I don't know what you mean." "Yes, you do." She poured herself tea, calm as ever. "Amijan, I think you're upset. Maybe you should rest." "I will not rest while you destroy my family." She laughed softly. "Your family? Amijan, I am your family now. And family makes sacrifices." "Sacrifices?" My voice rose. "You sacrificed nothing. You took everything." She set down her cup, her expression hardening. "I took nothing. Adil made his own choice. He chose me. He chose our future. Not your past." Her words cut deeper than any blade. "You poisoned him." "I woke him up," she said coldly. "He was wasting his life here, playing farmer, living in the shadow of a dead man." I slapped her. "I didn't plan it. I didn't think." My hand moved on its own. The sound echoed in the silence. Maywish touched her cheek, her eyes wide with shock. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she smiled. Slowly. Coldly. You'll regret that. And she walked out. I stood there, my hand still trembling, my heart pounding. What have I done? But deep down I knew. I had declared war. Hours later, Adil returned. Maywish ran to him, tears streaming down her face, playing the victim perfectly. Adil, she hit me. Your mother hit me. Adil looked at me, shock and anger in his eyes. Ami, is that true? I didn't deny it. Yes. Why? His voice cracked. Why would you do that? Because she deserved it. Maywish sobbed louder. See? She hates me. She's always hated me. Adil turned to me, his face full of pain and fury. How could you, Ami? How could you hurt her? She hurt me first, Adil. She hurt us. And you're too blind to see it. I'm not blind. You're just bitter. You can't accept that I have my own life now. Your life. I stepped closer. You sold your father's land today, didn't you? He looked away. Didn't you? Yes, he said quietly. I did. The air left my lungs. The money will be transferred in a few days, he continued. And we're moving to the city. This is what's best for us. For you, I said, my voice breaking. Not for us. For you. He didn't respond. Maywish clung to his arm, her tears gone now, replaced by cold satisfaction. I looked at my son. My only son. And I didn't recognize him. Your father is ashamed of you, I whispered. Adil flinched. And so am I. I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard Maywish whisper, let her go. She'll calm down. But I wouldn't calm down. Because this wasn't over. Not yet. They say karma doesn't announce itself. It walks in quietly. Disguised. Patient. And when it strikes where it hurts the most. 3 days after Adil signed the papers, I watched him check his phone obsessively. The money should have been transferred by now, he muttered. Maywish sat beside him, her leg bouncing nervously. Call them. I have. They're not answering. I said nothing. I sat in my chair, watching them unravel. By the 4th day, panic set in. Adil drove to the city to find the buyers. He came back hours later, his face pale, his hands shaking. They're gone, he whispered. Maywish stood up. What do you mean gone? The office is empty. The phone numbers are disconnected. They're gone. The room went silent. That's impossible, Maywish said. We met them. We saw the documents. They were fake, Adil said, his voice hollow. The documents. The company. Everything. It was all fake. Maywish's face went white. I felt a cold calm settle over me. So, I said quietly, you sold your father's land to con artists. Adil looked at me, his eyes filled with horror. Ami, I didn't know. You didn't care, I said. You were so eager to get rid of it, you didn't even check. I thought. You thought you could erase your past and build a new future. But the past doesn't disappear, Adil. It follows you. Maywish suddenly turned on him. This is your fault. You said they were legitimate. You're the one who found them. Adil shot back. Silence. I looked at her. You found them. Maywish's face twisted. I was just trying to help. Help. Adil stared at her. You told me they were professional. You said you verified them. I thought I did. Or, I said slowly, you knew exactly who they were. Her eyes widened. What are you saying? I'm saying you coordinated this. You thought you'd get a cut. Didn't you? Her silence was the answer. Adil looked at her, betrayal dawning in his eyes. Maywish. Tell me that's not true. She stammered. Adil, I was just trying to help us. By scamming my mother? By scamming me? No. I didn't know they'd run. They promised. Promised what? I stood up. A share? Money on the side. Her face crumbled. And in that moment, Adil saw her for what she truly was. Karma had arrived. The next morning, I went to see a lawyer. Adil didn't know. Maywish didn't know. But I had kept the original land documents in a safe place. And I had never signed any transfer papers. The lawyer reviewed everything. Mrs. Ahmed, he said, the sale is invalid. The land is still legally yours. I felt my heart steady. What do I need to do? File a report. Contest the sale. The fraudsters will be investigated. And your son? He has no claim unless you transfer it willingly. I nodded. When I returned home, Adil was sitting at the table, his head in his hands. Maywish was nowhere to be seen. Ami, he said quietly, I'm so sorry. I didn't respond. I was stupid. I was selfish. I believed her. And now, I've lost everything. Not everything, I said. He looked up. I placed the documents on the table. The sale was illegal. The land is still mine. His eyes widened. Ami. And it will stay mine. Until I decide otherwise. Tears filled his eyes. I don't deserve your forgiveness. No, I said. You don't. And I walked away, leaving him to sit with his guilt. Maywish tried to leave that night. I found her packing her bags in the bedroom. Where do you think you're going? I asked. She didn't look at me. Away. Anywhere. No. She turned, her face hard. You can't keep me here. I can. Because you owe me answers. Adil appeared in the doorway. Maywish, he said quietly, tell her the truth. She laughed bitterly. The truth? You want the truth? Fine. I never loved this place. I never loved this life. I married you because I thought you had money. I thought I'd live comfortably. But instead, I got dirt and poverty. Adil's face broke. So yes, she continued, I found buyers. I thought I'd get a cut. I thought I'd finally escape. But they scammed me too. Happy now. I stepped closer. You destroyed my family. Your family was already broken, she spat. You just couldn't see it. Get out, I said. She grabbed her bags and left. Adil stood there, shattered. I'm sorry, Ami, he whispered. I looked at my son. Sorry isn't enough. But it's a start. Months passed. Adil stayed. He worked. He repaired the damage. Slowly, trust was rebuilt. The land healed. So did we. And one morning, as we stood together watching the sunrise over the fields, Adil said, Thank you for not giving up on me. I smiled. I never will. Because this land? It was more than dirt. It was love, legacy, and family. And it would always be ours.